So look, we're running a little bit over here, but I think there's been a wide variety of different things presented here. And one of my complaints in the Lyme community is we don't publish. We don't publish. And there's a number of presentations here that I think from the last 2 days that could be published. And Leona, who was here just a second ago, she and I are editors of a special edition of emerging research on tick-borne pathogens and diseases from the journal Microorganisms. It's not a bad journal. I think it's what's the term used? The impact value is like 4 or 5, which ain't bad because clinical infectious disease isn't much better than that. But there is an opportunity. So, for example, Abby, who's presented this data, we're going to get Abby to work over the summer and trying to get the data published. And what part of the reason the data is important to publish is I've been collecting samples sequentially on the patients from that cohort. Carl has access to those samples. We've already had preliminary conversations with, institutions organizations that might be willing to fund if we have some preliminary data. Nobody's going to give you, money for a grant unless you've got some of the data ahead of time. So I guess I would just say everybody that presented over the last couple of days, I think we have an opportunity. We're not going to publish bad data, but part of the challenge also is that sometimes people don't know how to put together a publication. So we're also offering, assistance with analyzing the data. And I haven't even discussed this with Michael Cook back there, but Michael has look at what he's done over the last number of years. He's helped Dr. Bransfield, he's helped me, he's helped a number of other people put together data sets, analyze data, put it in a compact, kind of package that is presentable to reviewers. So we want peer review of all this work. But even when you've got good publications, we keep on running into peer reviewers who sabotage you. I've mentioned this before. So to be perfectly honest, we have to kind of control the agenda here. The agenda is we need to get publications out there. We need to get good publications out there. We're not going to approve bad publications, but we're willing to provide all the support. Everybody, who's been on the conference for the last couple of days, if you've got data that is publishable, we're willing to help you with that. And I think that really is an important next step, is to get publications out there from tick-borne infection.
Yes, and we just submitted a publication about the microbes found in horseflies in France. Just submitted.
We have our own journal to publish as well from Liz.
So Liz is also making a comment that
another point that could be positive from our group. I discussed with you with Marc Choquet. He represents the University of Compiègne in France. Probably we could collaborate also with Amir Kadir from Quebec. We could join with Leona in a European project. We could join databases about our patients, and it would be a fantastic database if we work together.
Yeah.
Leona, you want to say something about that? No, about your European project? Or?
Yeah. Come over.
So why don't you just step up for a second, Leona? And I think we'll finish up in about 5 minutes, but we just maybe take a few more comments from the audience.
One of the first time that I've known about the European Commission actually using the words in a funding call called chronic Lyme disease. Yeah. So we have to apply for this funding. It is a €7 million project, around 4 years. And really we are building up a consortium of like-minded people, including patients, public representatives, as well as scientists and clinicians all over Europe. But also we need advisory board members and representatives to help guide us, because we need to take our impact from Europe and bring it out globally. So we have people from the States as well. We have people from Mexico, Canada, And we are going to drive our narrative with the databases, with evidence-based approach.
And if anybody on the call wants to be involved, I think the best contact is to use Gordana.
Yeah.
So Gordana is the one that registered you for this course. Gia Abramovitz at matter.ie. If you have an interest in finding more about it, Leona's organizing weekly Zoom meetings to progress our science or our scientific agenda. So we welcome everybody to be a part of the solution.
And we got Christian involved. We're getting everybody involved.
And also to say that for the people who are non-European, we'll be doing retrospective analysis of their data sets. So if you're willing to share your data sets, we could also include that. I think if we come together, we're stronger for the research because we need data.
Yeah.
And then finally, if you're in the UK, you're not part of the European Union, but we can, Brexit, this is why I took out my Irish passport, it's great to have an Irish passport being a British citizen. But the point is that we can subcontract with the UK, so there are ways of involving the UK. So anybody on the call, Carl's and the group here already, there are ways of involving the UK despite your foolish mistake to leave the European Union.
And if I could just leave with one message, let's come together and change the narrative for these patients. That's it.
Yes.
Thank you, Leona.
Yeah. Chris, if you come up and just one final
Bring you on to some message.
on behalf of Invisible International, I think that would be great. Yeah, well, why don't you stand up before you stand up? Carl wants to make a comment.
So this is a plea to the private clinics for people who do that sort of work. So working with the dog clinic, we've taken his data and helped him publish it. So I think there's loads of information out there that we just don't get out there. So if you want to try and get your data published, come contact me. We have good students that come through. We can help you write the papers. So I think that's
Thank you. That's it.
Chris, if you want to say a word from Invisible, you're visible.
So the visible representation of Invisible International here today in Dublin.
So Invisible started about 3 years ago, and its intention is in fact to do exactly what is being spoken about here. We provide continuing medical education modules which are free and online, and I realize we should work on getting those accredited in Europe as well as in the States. And so we will work on that. But we also invite, what we do is identify gaps in the information that's out there in tick-borne diseases. There are a lot of them. Everyone here has probably provided information about a gap in tick-borne disease. So we will most likely, sometime in the next year, as we work on becoming truly international, contact some of you and ask if you're willing to become a faculty and to present your data on a continuing medical education. So that's the education piece. We also have, as Laura Lott, and I'm sorry I didn't see her little face in the corner there, but as she explained, we have an innovation piece. We run hackathons and then have people be in an incubator to really support them. We mentor them to produce whatever it is. And indeed, Lyme TB is probably the one that has come out first. And so we have the innovation piece. And then we have the change the narrative piece. And I think Bob mentioned Swamp Boy, which is an attempt to change the narrative. And again, our narratives, and Laura mentioned this, but it may have been lost, are always based on a peer-reviewed journal, so that there can be the story that captures the heart, because we realize the stories out there about people with Lyme and tick-borne disease are not accurate. They aren't telling about the suffering of these patients. They aren't telling about them seeing 10 doctors, 12 doctors, and getting 20 diagnoses. I mean, I cannot believe when patients present to me. You know, I have a great physician assistant who does the intakes, and she lists every diagnosis they've gotten, and they're usually 15 to 20, right? So we do have that piece too, and invite, if people have ideas about a narrative or about a published article, that you have a patient who the story would be good to get out there, to please contact us. Chris Newby is our writer. She was the investigative reporter on the original movie, Under Our Skin. And she's a good investigative reporter. And then she's written a book called Bitten, which is a little bit about the controversy of how the bug originated, also well documented. So we're excited about kind of the little bit of seeds we're putting out there and the little plants that are growing. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to announce that in agreement with Jack Gordana, we will organize probably the next meeting in France at the autumn 2024 with the help of Marc Choquet. You want just to say a word, Marc, from the University of Compiègne?
Well, of course, you'll be welcome. So.
Okay. Well, so it's a university in a city north of Paris, and you have people in the university who are very motivated for Lyme and associated diseases. It's rare in our country. So
we have a local regional center of reference on Lyme
yes,
just in our town. So just say a word about the publication, please.
Yes,
Yeah. So
Want to come here,
so come forward.
just so the online people can hear.
So case reports are important. Databases are important. We're not publishing. We've offered every opportunity to assist people. And what comments do you want to make?
Yeah, I think this is the first comment. So this is a good idea to have the international database.
Mhm.
So we need to have the same lines, the same columns in the very
Yes.
same fields and so on. So this kind of standardization, we have to do it. But this is a work we can do. It would take 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yes, yeah.
But regarding the publications, I think there's also a very good lever is publishing the individual cases, not
Mhm.
only the studies.
Yes.
So we have GPs back in my town who learned a lot about Lyme disease by reading individual cases
Case
publications.
Mhm.
So it's written by different specialists,
Right.
and they just describing how the person has had all the long sequence of diagnosis, tests, and so on until the final
Diagnosis. So I think in the interest of time, we will wrap up and say, and say, goodbye, but welcome next year in I'd love to go to France. So next year in France is the plan, okay?
okay.
So thank you.
And thank you, Jack Gordana, for this year, for the beautiful organization.
Okay.